Welcome back. This is the last game of the series for Infinity vs. Infamous. We are going to determine now who gets to keep the INF tag for their team. And it's honestly a close one. Much closer than we were expecting, especially seeing the drafts. But Infinity pulls off a decent one and showcases why the strength of the Monkey King and the Bane was there. What are your expectations for this third game, Mr. Bowie?
As long as Underlord stays out of both drafts, I think we're gonna have a really good game. I'm surprised Infinity is the one that takes the Tiny away first phase, considering that Infamous just feels very comfortable resorting to that Terror Blade that they did beat with the Tiny. But nonetheless, I just want to see whether Infinity, is willing to play Death Prophet. Oh, they actually literally just got it. I thought that. With the way they were, I think they banned it in the first game, and they actually didn't really do anything. They also didn't ban Shadow Demon this time, so we'll see if Infamous is gonna take the Shadow Demon versus it. Pretty common, but yeah, I'm very excited. I think this is much closer than a lot of people give Infinity credit for, because they did bounce from Division 1 to 2 a couple of times, but I think this is the best. Like in terms of actual talent, this is probably the best roster they had ever had.
I agree.
Okay, different approach from Infamous. I've seen some of the drafts that they've been playing in the BTS Pro series, and I don't see Keeper of the Light. Is South America not on the hype train for Keeper of the Light? Because this hero is really good. Like other regions,
I think No Ping is playing a bit of Coddle, but overall I didn't see a lot of it.
Yeah, it's not a big thing here. I think there's only a couple of supports who want to play that kind of playstyle, and most of the time they just want to be playmakers or absolute sacrifice, right? I think Coddle's in the middle ground there that South America isn't like. The same reason why Razor became popular and SA was like, why play Razor K when I can play TB and Medusa instead?
Wow, Infinity, they're so bold, actually. Like, picking both supports in the first phase, now both cores like this. I mean,
do you think
Volker
DP's a core for sure?
True, it doesn't have to be a core, but I think, with the way spirits work right now, I think you do get more value out of it playing as a core. Okay. But you're right, it could be support.
Could be 5, yeah. Boom, during the Gamers Galaxy, they played a lot of position 5 Death Prophet, and it looked really well. It's a flex pick, but I don't mind them snatching the Invoker here, because it would have got banned out for sure. Also, this might be a safe lane combo. This doesn't necessarily need to be Ember Spirit on the mid lane. And I feel like Infinity also thinks that's going to happen, because it's a good combo. You don't get the shield, you go maybe 1 point in it, but you go for the Slight, you go for the chains, especially with the Grimstroke. It's a killer lane for sure, and they do ban out Kunkka, which is a great matchup against the Invoker. Let's see if they decide to protect Invoker with one more ban. Shadow Demon that you mentioned, great against Death Prophet. She can't go like Yule's. It's also like a burst damage when you think about it with the Soul Catcher. So great ban overall.
Yeah, when I look at Grimstroke Ember, my Sproing sense is actually hiding up so hard. Like, Ench is so good against both of those heroes, the Dispel. So, okay, they don't take it out. We'll see if Infinity picks it up. Okay, with the Mirana, it kinda does cover the Ench a little bit. But
nobody in this region, though, picks the Enchantress. We've been suggesting it every draft. It's like, thought this hero's good. Oh, why are they not picking it? And they just don't pick it. Dude.
It's so good. Enchantress is top tier. I don't know if you guys saw. You get the Troll Summoner creep, you summon the Skellies, and you just kill the tower, or deal like half damage to the tower, which is insane.
That's crazy. So stupid. That was the was it Liquid that did that, where they took the tower while a team fight was happening, just with an Ench creep?
Might have been that. Might have been Enigma as well, because Enigma, because yeah, a lot of people, a lot of teams in Europe just do rate this hero highly.
North America, the same. Maybe South America, out of spite, is not doing what the North Americans
do. Yeah, they're like,
we
don't want that. If the other guys, if the other regions are picking it up, we want to play our own thing, and they are.
Ench is a gringo pick, as they would say. That's why they don't pick it here.
I mean, South America is definitely a hipster region, right? The Tinies and all of that sort of jazz. They do have their own meta. Which is similar to China. You know, they don't play IO. I guess that's the meme, and they don't play certain heroes as much as other regions. But they are thinking here, because I think there's a lot of value on Ench. The Mirana, I don't know how much of a problem it would be, but they go Willow.
Okay. What do you think of this Willow? Kind of surprised with the pick. Just threw it off there, the Willow.
It's good. Willow, hero that got nerfed a little bit. Like Shadow Realm's not instant anymore. It has 0.3 seconds fade, which is a bit unexpected considering that Dark Willow didn't see too much of a play like during the TI and after. But yeah, completely different draft from Infinity. I like what they got so far. These heroes are very easy to play. No matter what stage of the game we're talking about, you can always do stuff with these heroes. Maybe they're gonna have a little bit of an issue ganking, but Invoker can set things up with the Tornado, and not the ideal. You want to have a Blink Initiator, but they're very strong once they decide to group up as 5, because they have 2 abilities, even 3, that can just say we're not fighting here. We choose where we want to fight, either Bramble Maze, Invoker, Tornado, even EMP, and also Dark Willow's ulti. So 4 in total.
Yeah, what I see from Infamous side is that they kind of went for the same strategy or style that Infinity went for Game 2. They really want to run.
Yes.
At Infinity, you have this Ember Sand King with the Mirana. So if they can actually play well alongside those 2 cores, if the Mirana and the Grimstroke can play with them, there's a lot of early game potential. But once BKBs get ready for Infinity, I really feel like their draft falls off quite a bit. So I'm trying to think, because I don't think they're going to give Terrorblade for Infamous this time, because they have Luna. What is the core they can actually pick on Infamous to kind of scale after all of these, ganking ends once the BKBs are up?
I mean, they could still get something on a mid lane. They have flexibility with the Ember Spirit, but I think you have a really good point about them playing the same style with the heroes that they got, what Infinity did in Game 2, which I'm not a big fan of this style. I think this style really is super risky. If you're not ahead, it's very hard to play Dota like that.
So yeah, they do take the Dusa and the Terrorblade. They feel like this Ember is gonna be mid anyways.
It's also an Alone staple, right? I think it's his best hero, and you guys harped on a lot about the fact that Alone was just struggling both games, right? So maybe you give him that to perk him up, to make him play in his comfort zone a bit more.
Okay, I'm just gonna suggest one hero, Drow Ranger for Infamous. This hero is gonna be top tier. This hero, they have 0 backline jumpers, and I feel like this hero just can completely take over the game for them.
But then their lane is kind of weak, right? Drow with Grimstroke feels like you have 2 range heroes. Grimstroke
it's not too much synergy, but you have Stroke of Fate, and you need an earlier point in Gust to be able. We're not talking just about the lane. I'm talking about the whole matchup against Luna. At every single point of the game, you're gonna outrange all the heroes. That Prophet doesn't really like to play into Drow Ranger, no matter what. But we'll see what they decide to go for. They banned out Medusa and TB, which is great. Oh, okay, what is this? Gyro?
Is this Gyro 5?
Oh wow.
Okay.
Is it Gyro 5? Is it TP 5? Who knows? No matter what, it's going to be weird. Gyro offlane has been played in North America a little bit. Speed was popularizing it. He even made a guide about it. And honestly, I was doubtful about it at first, but it didn't seem that bad. I don't know about this game.
Yeah, wow, I'm very confused. This threw me off quite a bit. I don't mind the Drow, as I think the core matchup is definitely strong and could be a route for Infamous. If they don't go for that, I think I honestly wouldn't mind to see this Ember play as a carry and them just picking a better matchup, because I feel like Invoker it's so good versus Ember. You just it's probably gonna be Quaswex. The Flame Guard never gets up. It's not. I don't think this is gonna solve. Even if it's a comfort hero for Alone, it doesn't feel like it's gonna be an easy matchup anyways. And even the favorable matches, he actually struggled versus PP. So if they can actually get a good mid hero that allowed them to scale a little bit more.
Like what?
Yeah, that's the question. I think
That's for you, bro.
maybe go Lina here. Actually, just go Lina again. They do have the problem is they don't really have any like tank or hero that wants to like create the wall. Sand King doesn't want to be the first one to initiate. They go PA.
Okay. I did like Alina though, because she's like mid drow essentially. So.
Yeah, it has the outrange aspect. I don't know. PA is good versus Luna. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like their draft, as Lacoste said, is very all in the sense that if you don't get those early kills, it looks awful. This Mirana doesn't really do anything. PA also, if she gets a bad lane, it can be terrible. So I'm going Infinity. I think these guys are gonna take this one.
Cost, what are your thoughts?
I do agree. Never was a fan of these drafts that they go all in with like we need to gank the shit out of them to be able to win the game, because a lot of the times it just doesn't work. And this Phantom, like the way both of these teams utilize the last pick is like not ideal, because like you don't want to save the pick for position 5 gyro. You could have picked that at the first stage and you will be like, whatever, we're gonna flex it. So it doesn't strike me as this position 5 gyro is gonna have a good time. He might or he might not, but it's hard to say. As Phantom Assassin, this hero is very hard to read. In the laning stage they might get some kills. They do have burst potential with the Grimstroke, so they got to be careful about it. Also, one thing I noticed across the other regions is Phantom Assassin doesn't like play the lane well, and she's forced out of the lane early on, and she decides to go for Orb of Corrosion. Then your Battle Fury timing is delayed, and you're gonna have a really bad time. But I'm leaning towards Infinity here. I feel like they have a better draft. Like they're very strong at grouping up, taking Roshan, standing in front of the towers and just being it up. And Luna, I haven't seen too much of her lately, but still a very strong hero. She actually received buff in the patch.
Okay, we're going to have to see if Infinity can take this as we get to game number 3 with Epulze and SeekNStrike Dota. I love our pretty faces, but let's get right into the game because this is already starting.
How can you use my Twitter handle but not yours? I don't understand. What's the story there? What's the story?
But the story is I forget my Twitter handle because I only have this Twitter handle because there's an avocado skincare brand that's called Ava Plus, and that was my mistake. Why?
Sponsor us.
That is not my story, by the way. I do have a nice story.
What's your story?
Oh, by the way, I love this. This is happening. Oh. I don't know if you guys know, but they call abuelo means grandpa in Spanish, and that's what they call Oscar in the scene because he's 27. Anyway, my story was actually interesting about Prada when the gyrocopter pick. I thought it was perfect. I was going to tell a story anyway, but when I saw the gyrocopter pick, it's great. So, as a bit of context, I also cast in Spanish, and I often do as a charity sounds like really arrogant, but like I'll cast small tournaments, right? Just for free because it hypes with the scene and stuff. And you get to meet a lot of the players at smaller tournaments. They're much more casual. And when you do interviews there's more of a podcast. And so one of these smaller tournaments, Prada, which is his old name for Sassid, was playing on G Pride back then. Right? I had a little conversation with him, a nice guy. He was drafting back then. And I asked him, Prada, what do you think are the strongest like 5s right now? And he goes, I think it is like a year ago. He's like, I think it's Mars, Gyrocopter, and DP. I'm like, Prada, those are cores. I'd asked, strongest 5s, dude. He's like, yes, Gyrocopter, DP, Mars. And I think this reveals a lot of his mentality. He thinks the flex pick is so powerful that any carry that can be played, or any core that can be played in the 5 role particularly, because that's such a unique flex, is so good. He even told me, he's like, I want to try the Chinese Juggernaut again, which was about like 6 years back. In China, they were playing Juggernaut 4 and Juggernaut 5. He's like, I want to try that. I want to bring that back into the meta. So this guy's a real madman about these picks. And I love that he did it this game. It's like the perfect time to tell the story.
Yeah, there it is. I wasn't sure if it was going to end up being the offlane or not. I actually almost did a spit take when I was drinking my water, and The last pick, Gyro, came up, and everyone on panel went,
Yes. Yes.
Oh, it's some good stuff. I also love how, just to kind of, I always love how the pre-horn smokes or the pre-horn movements always play out and how they evolve throughout the series. Last time, of course, we had the fun little 5v5 that almost happened, but Weaver ruined it. This time, both safe laners just hide behind their towers. They don't want any of this. Everyone's super in focus mode, not trying to take any big risks early on. And speaking of risk, it's no risk for Alone to take level 1 Flame Guard. Eventually, of course, versus Quaswix and Ogre, that's going to be dispelled, but not at level 1, it's not. So a nice first hit wave for the Ember Spirit mid.
Not at level 1, it's not yet. Right, that's the moment where Ember beats the Invoker, and then the lane becomes hell from there, right?
Yep.
I think with Sleight of Fist, honestly, this matchup is not that bad, because you max Sleight of Fist, get 2 points in Flame Guard, and yeah, it dispels it, but whatever, you can still last it creeps relatively easily. If you're a good Ember.
They get first blood, actually. A little arrow into Burrow Strike action is going to secure it. That was easy. They even find Rises, and they give the kill onto Oscar. Could not have really gone much better, to be honest.
Yeah. This lane is very powerful. It's just very, very good. Oscar? Oh, if I can get a small shot. Oh, they're going to catch Prada again. And Prada, I think he might die as a result. They have a lot of auto attack damage. Oh, he has a Fairy Fire! That surprised Oscar. They didn't check the inventory. Always check inventory, lads.
Always check, especially versus a hero that has 6 armor. Yeah, that's a little bit of a mistake there, but level 2 at the ready means Lalin will leap away. And instead the action is bottom, where Affliction managed to find a kill here versus the Dark Willow. Self-cancelled? Self-cancelled, though.
I like, by the way, if I add another story, if you watched Stinger, yesterday we talked about Stinger having an educational channel. He mentioned this interview, and recently he was talking about the Ogre thing, and he actually showed a game where it was against Mirana Sanking, and he made fun of the Sanking because they didn't go level 1 Impale or level 1 Burrow Strike, and this ability, this combo of Sanking Mirana, Burrow Strike plus Arrow, is just so powerful. You have such an insane kill potential at level 1. I think very few lanes have this much kill potential at level 1. So I'm really glad that they took advantage of this, and I think Infinity was a little bit careless on the positioning with the Luna, because you are just gonna die.
And you know what? Speaking about a positive this Infinity top lane, there are not many heroes, supports especially, that can out-harass a Mirana. Gyro, definitely one of them. He's not doing a lot of damage, right? Only basically outside of Lunar Blessing range, just his base 50 damage. Nothing to write home about, but Mirana doesn't do much of anything back to him at all. So as long as he's taking care not to overextend and not setting himself up for a Burrow Strike into an arrow combo or vice versa, he's really making a lot of space for Luna. Mirana, one of the most annoying position 4s to lane against, because she just leaps away from you, arrows your wagons, does a bunch of damage from range, great auto attack animation, as they are going to make a play now for Oscar.
And you have to be very careful. Oscar has been left alone in the lane. They took advantage of this, but Sladin TP's back to the tower so you can help him. And Oscar still gonna die here to lose some beam. Too late. Mirana is annoying, but as you mentioned, can't really do much if they go on your carry. You can really just arrow and stun one of them, right? So
yeah, she's a great hero for this kind of more aggressive, offensive playstyle. Offensive, maybe not the right word. Aggressive, a better word. But as soon as you require a little bit of save, you'd be wishing you went for like a Wyvern or a Shadow Demon. Maybe not Wyvern in this patch, right? But you get the idea. Something that can actually counter-initiate and do a little bit better than just toss an arrow and hope it connects. So this lane is actually turning out to be very, very nice. Of course, they have mana issues, very, very serious sustain problems for Infinity. To keep up this harass, they just need tons of mangoes, enough mangoes to even make Ice Frog blush. But they've got plenty of regen already coming on the Couriers. But for now, Oscar and Sladin have a very, very aggressive lane once again without all the mana to support the spam.
Frankly, after living in SCA, I know what the hype that Ice Frog has for mangoes is all about.
Oh, yeah.
I really understand. Fear, they're really, really good.
You import a bottle of Tajín and you're good to go.
Yeah. Tajín. But yeah.
Listen, dude, I'm getting ready for the Arlington, Texas Major, okay? Tajín.
Right. right. Tajín, right.
Nicely done. I didn't mention on this combo, but now is a perfect time. Searing Chains into the arrow. I think that one even caught PP by surprise.
Yeah. That's the combo that we didn't really mention. We're really hard on the Mirana.
Top lane, though, they go again for Oscar. Sorry to cut you off there, my friend,
Nope,
but
it's
without
fine.
Mirana in the top lane, Arrow now sailing on through is going to be deftly avoided. Oscar taking a bit of damage, and they will not have enough for another Lucent Beam nor the auto attack, so Oscar does make it out alive.
You could tell it was when Prada was about to dive, and I think it was Rice's that stuff. No, please don't go. Because he was like really advanced. He's like, guys, I have 7 armor. I can tank this down. Do not worry. So I'm glad he didn't go for that. I like that SA plays aggressively for these kills, but usually that's more of their downfall than their perk. And it's good that you learn some discipline here. So with that, the lane for Rises now I think is secured enough, right? He's matching the PA, so at least you'll equal her farm, more or less. And it's mid lane actually where Infamous will make the difference.
Oh, they did not coordinate that correctly. Probably should have been a second kill.
Yes,
Positioning
Oscar
by
in the top
Mirana.
lane though. These once again playing super aggressively. Oh, never mind. Oscar is making a home in the trees.
Good. He was ready for this. I think Oscar definitely and Slavin both, again, very experienced players. They both recognize that as soon as that Mirana shows mid lane, even just with an arrow, they know Oscar is alone, and they're going to go on 10 out of 10 times on that. As the arrow actually does manage to find the Ember. Sorry, not the arrow, rather the homing missile, so alone in a bit of trouble. Gates off his remnants. Tornado is not going to sweep him up. He's alone, sidesteps the EF2 Tornado. The supports still sparring in the mid lane, though, versus now both supports as well from Infinity that have rocked up or showed up. No kills here, and heal himself for alone. We'll keep him topped up, but cancelled. Another cold snap. That'll reveal the presence of the ward.
Yes, but worth it, I think, for the heal. PP uses a creep to block that arrow, and PP, he's getting smarter. He's like, I know they're coming for me. This is the best combo they have, and Infamous is putting all their efforts in the mid lane. And is this Thunder Awaken we're watching? Because Oscar is once again left as a sacrifice here. Literally the same way as they did when he was playing in his last team, and he's just going to try to find farm the best way he can. But this is where Oscar excels, and you can see this because Prada went too far. Oscar calls for reinforcements, and this time they come.
Yeah, and they're coming, and Prada's going back to the Ancient for sure. Back to the Fountain, rather. Nice kill there. It gets simply too aggressive, like you're saying. That's why Rises was there to keep him in check, but it's a little bit too excited with how much damage he was able to do, with all that bonus armor that he has, and he is going to pay the price. Still, though, Rises having a phenomenal laning stage. 37 and 17 denies is going to be absolutely clutch for him. He's already up to level 6. With an interesting build, 2 points already in the Lucent Beam, which probably means he's going to end up maxing the Blessing and the Glaives, and then put the 2 points into Eclipse at 11 and 12. Is usually the build I see here. As with the Exo active, pardon me, I missed the kill completely. Lumiere is going to drop to Mariano.
Let me do a radio cast on it. Essentially what happened is Lumiere went into the trees, right? Mariano was like, oh, I'll just chase you forever. You're dead, my dude. And that's what happened. And then Lumiere died. It was pretty easy, actually. The Exorcism at level 1. This is... It reminds me a lot of how Leshrac plays the offlane, back when that was more common to pick, right? You get level 6, and then if you're not leaving the lane, you're gonna die. Like, it's just straight up. And if you leave the lane, your tower falls. So it's a really difficult choice for the carry. There, he delayed the tower falling a little bit, but I think it was the wrong play, because now you lose tower and you carry.
Mid lane, though, he is going to be able to go in aggressively. This is just a support gyrocopter, of course, so let's not get too excited. But the kill eventually still goes the way of Alone, utilizing that double damage rune in the bottle. Make sure you can get the kill.
Yeah. I do wonder, like you say, like, yeah, don't worry, it's a support gyrocopter, but worry because it's also support gyrocopter. And you just can't do anything with your supports. Michael dies.
Arrow. Beautiful.
You're in a tough position here because the guys who are supposed to like win your early mid game right now has to be your cores. Because your supports are not going to do enough for it, right? Willow's a little bit under leveled, and Gyro's just not that kind of hero. He's a hero that kind of scales a little bit better into the mid game, and that level 6 is very important. As they go for PP, they have an arrow ready. PP gets Searing Chains. I think they got a little bit of the Inkswell stun, but that's not really that big a deal, as PP will instead be run down. Now with the Cold Snap, though, Alone, he does not avoid the Cursed Crown, and he's going to get stunned too long. Now the silence hits him, and Alone is going to die. Indeed, too far. SeekNStrike calls it. He's right. Slavin, though, he says, I'll kill you! You took my mid laner's life! I'll kill you! I swear to God! But Slavin, unfortunately, is a support, and PP will win this match and tip his dead body.
PP's like, Slava, dude, are you crazy? Invoker has 14.2 HP regen with my Quaswords. What are you thinking?
Oh my god. Yeah, that's the meme. There we go. What were you thinking? You think you could kill a mid lane Invoker? No. Not gonna happen.
That regen was madness. My goodness. This Invoker hero, man. How do you kill him?
That tip is the closest thing I've ever seen in Dota to a teabagging, because he just stood over his dead corpse as he tipped him. So, well done, PP. What an appropriate name for it as well.
I'm surprised. Here's an idea. Hold that thought. I'll get back to this in a second because top lane, another arrow into Burrow Strike Epicenter. This time out from Oscar is going to secure the kill onto Ryze. Nicely done. But here's a little bit of a free one for you guys. ITB. That's what you get for your spray. You get a nice little tea bag, right?
Oh, it's true. Yeah. They do have ITB's actually supporter pack. Really on point.
Really good. Really good.
I love it. I love it.
Are you speaking of supporter packs? Are you in any of the SA ones again?
I'm gonna be in the Hokori one. Yes.
Oh, spoilers.
Oh, sorry. Yes. I haven't made the voice lines yet. So, Oscar. There's the EMP tornado. Hoy missile hit, and Oscar will die again. He was struggling so hard to take this tower, and he dies in a bit of a desperate attempt, but the tower gets denied. Still, space made, right? You still get map control. Not that bad of a trade.
Yep. Those give earn charges over to the Invoker, which might be problematic, as that's a big and Remnant bomb mid lane that is not going to go well for Alone. Gives himself a couple of voice lines there as the Magic Wand for the Willow will keep her sustained through that little bit of harass. Rises down bottom, is safely farming, of course, after the DP has taken already the tower. His tower has been taken, so he decides this is the safest place to be, and it is for now. However, there's a three-man smoke from Infamous, who will sweep across the map and hope to find themselves a piece of that Luna and Nova. And so far, it seems like they're going to be on a direct collision course here. Rises might not be ready for this. Oh, but he reads the map super well. Look at this guy. Mid lane, they're also making a play for the Ember. They got him, but Oscar, he's committing to this one. Inkswell into the arrow Burrow Strike after the aggressive play forward, and they will get the kill onto Rises.
Okay, I love this play by Oscar, actually. The mid lane was really good, by the way. What happened is that there was a sleight of fist by Alone, just trying to cover the lane. He didn't see Mariano, and then Mariano just silenced the place where he's going to sleight of fist, right? That's where the projectile coming into play actually benefits the DP, because it's easier to calculate that. As they go for Affliction now, by the way, he's going to try to TP. Tornado will stop this. Nice job by PP. I did want to highlight, though, the play in the bottom lane. What was so cool about it is that they're realizing on Infinity, they just don't have any push, right? So all they can really do is dive towers to get these kills and create space that way. Very similar to how you play with a Timbersaw, except with even less push than that. Sanking is a defensive offlaner. He's there to tank the towers, but against a DP, there's just nothing a Sanking can do. Your towers will fall. And so the only way for you to create space is for you to make these really risky plays under the tier 1, under the tier 2, and kill with Epicenter. So he's adapting well to the game, but his draft, unfortunately, is a difficult one to execute.
It is, but at least he's got a hero to play with, right? So it's not completely impossible. We can see obviously this Mirana Sanking combo has gotten many kills, and with the smoke, they'd like to at least get one more. In the line of fire right now is going to be just the Willow, but not too far behind his Jar. Once again, a support. But with a Blink Dagger in tow is Oscar. As we catch up with Michael, who is going to whiff the Terrorize as Lumiere continues to bait them a little bit further. Sunstrike is going to hit her, but it's a level 1 Sunstrike, not going to do much there. Oscar finds his mark. The arrow as well will connect, and Alone secures the kill. Sleight of fist. So speaking of that Sunstrike, go ahead.
Prada dies is not a big kill, but what it allows you to do, though, is going for these kind of sweep plays, because now the 5 can't cover the gank. Exactly. And so PP, he actually meteors because he's assuming people are coming for him, but they don't care. They're going to die to tier 2 here, and that's what they have to do. Risky plays that get you kills, and they bring down PP, very important one. They even force Mariano to TP. Can't take towers, you got to make do while the tower's still up. I actually really love this adaptation from Infamous.
And a great ward, of course, which sets up for that one as well. Just kind of watching that camp. Not really expecting a ward to be there before the tier 1 is taken. Normally, that's a ward you take, you plant and check for after the tier 1 falls. Usually, teams will put a ward kind of closer here, right in the smack dab between the tier 1 and tier 2, to set up for aggressive plays like these before the tower is down. That's not the case here. Infamous are continuing to put the pedal to the metal, really. And I really like this. It's almost like we've changed roles from game 1, haven't we? And we're right back to just kind of pure aggression as they are hunted now for Alone. Homing missile on his tail. Oscar ready to counter-initiate with now not only the Burrow Strike Epicenter, but also buffed by the Inkswell. They 100 to 0 PP. No chance for him to get off a single spell or invoke anything. PP, though, Oscar is going to die to Rises, who TP's on in. Mariano holding down Affliction. Will get the kill there as they chase for more, but not by the Soulbind. They will only be able to get the 2-for-1 special. At least they finally get a defensive kill or 2 against the constant pressure that Infamous were applying.
Yep. Again, the pressure by Infamous is it looks better than it is because it's more desperate, right? Like, the lack of push makes it so this pressure doesn't actually turn into anything tangible after a while. Yeah, it's great to get kills, and this is important, it's the way you have to play. But ultimately, if there's no objectives taken from these kills, then all you're creating is space for the PA and praying that she'll eventually be the hero that carries you the game. So Infinity can easily reset this game by just honestly not doing anything. Punishing these kills, being quicker on the TPs, and just keeping up the farm on Luna. That's why they're not so worried, and that's why the game still preserves a 2k lead for Infinity.
So far, though, Infinity are farming decently well on Rises. He's got himself full Mask of Madness. Again, did go for this full farming build. Is actually putting a third point into the Lucent Beam at level 12. I thought we'd see the second point in Eclipse, but no, not yet. He's going to decide to just max the Lucent Beam first, probably. Okay, this Midas is now on its way towards PP, so he's going to begin scaling pretty nicely here, and the fact that he's still managing to out-farm alone, before the Midas is good news for him, as basically tanking this Moonlight Shadow gank is going to be the Gyro. Gets up a wand. Maybe they can turn off of this.
Okay, they're trying. Mariano doesn't have Exorcism though, so it's a difficult play to be made, but he's chasing that Oscar. From behind comes alone, going for the supports first, and Michael will die to the Sleight of Fist. Two supports dead for Infinity. This is going to make him rethink if they really want to reinitiate this. Oscar sees the opportunity, goes for the Invoker. Arrow will hit. They hit him with a Soul Bind on top of that. They have anything to double. They don't need it. Searing Chains as long as they're together with the Epicenter. Mariano will try to fly in the air, but Epicenter will catch you once you're on the ground. Or at least the Burrow Strike will. Or some sort of damage. Is Mariano unkillable? No, he's not. Slavin gets him with a little auto attack. He dies for this, but in exchange, he does get the enemy offlane.
Okay, so that started off, that's 4 dead total, isn't it, for Infinity then, right? Because, yeah, that started with the supports both dropping, and then, of course, they weren't able to escape without a Bramble Maze or whatever to cover their Shreks. That's kind of a big problem, actually, for Infinity. Their disengage basically relies on, like, a tornado and then running through Bramble Maze, and hopefully enemies just don't chase you, which is not going to be too effective versus Ember, PA, and Sand King, of course. Oscar definitely having an amazing game thus far. Infinity definitely recognizing that. They are going to be looking to try and shut down the Scorpion, as they will rotate right to where he's going to be farming. Will it be here fast enough? No. That is a resounding no, because Oscar is already TPing away, and he's out of there. Instead, Infinity is trying to find anything with this smoke. Will now perhaps make a move into the enemy triangle alone in the line of fire for this one as Michael, his smoke breaks first, does find his mark. But, the Remnant, they were waiting for him there, rooted up, but still able to cast spells as Mariano, and with the Exo active alone, dropping fast, no more Remnants down, he will fall. They've only lost the Willow in exchange for this. And with the Exo level 2 out, level 1, pardon me, they are going to just still make a play for Roche.
Okay, that was actually really funny, because what happened there was that Infinity did a weird smoke, right? They went from low to high ground in the most awkward position ever in 2 choke points, right? Usually, like pro standards, that's a bad smoke. But because of that, Alone thought there's no way they're coming from there. They must be, like, wrap-arounding, right? And leading with the support. And so he thought that space must be free, hence he falls right into the trap the enemy set. Like, literally the counter to the counter to the counter. Mariano? He gets caught, by the way. The arrow, Mariano still has the exorcism up. That's not going to help him. Doesn't heal him in time, and he's going to be the first to die. But Infinity, they still want to fight this. And then go for the Sand King next. However, the PA's bursting down Axel. Oscar will die, but they did get down the support and Mariano, so kind of even right now. They hit the double Stifling Dagger now, and Alone joins in once again to call the second support. VP does get a Deafening Blast off, and with Rise's Eclipse, it almost kills off Alone, but he did have a Remnant for safety. He learned from that last play. He's like, I'm not going to overcommit anymore.
No, he's not. And, I think this fight might not be over yet as PP is going to break his Ghost Walk to try and go on to Lumiere. But if there are still enemies here, because there were enemies here 5 seconds ago, PP drops to the ice wall, trying to retreat, but Alone is going to get him from the opposite side with a Sleight of Fist. And now in a bit of an awkward spot is the Gyrocopter. Once again, Ember able to reach across the ice wall. Silence does manage to catch Alone, though. Seems like finally this fight is ending. Yeah, I mean, just to kind of... well, I think it's a little bit too late to make that point now. But yeah, nice smoke play from Infinity. They continue fighting here. They didn't buy back, don't they? Yes, they do on the Gyrocopter, so just a support buyback. But they were going to be repelled from their earlier Roche attempt, as Roche still licking his wounds. He'll be back to full HP in just a matter of about a minute or so. So the Roche advantage kind of nullified. And it seems like Lumiere is feeling the pressure. He is going to finish the BKB before the Desolator for the Phantom Assassin. Of course, the nice part about the item build is that you can really ultimately decide, but he already has the recipe for BKB, so he's probably going to buy the Ogre Axe and just be done with it. So he'll be ready to fight. This Invoker, not going to be a problem. This Willow, shrugged off. Gyrocopter, minced meat.
Yes, that has been the case every time, but now even more so, right? He's gone from like pieces, right? He was like a kebab before, and now he's straight up shredded. He's a minced meat pie. Shepherd's pie? I don't know.
Shepherd's
that
pie.
thing British people eat.
And Americans.
Is it an American thing too? I'm pretty sure it's a
We've got
British food.
shepherds.
I don't doubt them, but do you put them in pies is the question.
That is the question. I don't know.
Right. I don't know if cannibalism is practiced as well in the US. I thought it was only the UK. Anyway, they're gonna go and find Ember here, rooted up the
Nice.
DP, and that stops the initiation.
Wait, but
It does suck to have
scouted
to
the
initiate
smoke.
with silence.
They scouted the smoke, so Infinity, they know how many heroes are in the smoke. They know they're probably Moonlight Shadowed as well, but they're holding a good position here around a ward and a sentry. So this is going to be a bit of a difficult high ground assault here for Infamous. In fact, they're going to choose to try and go around. This has been a very popular staircase this match. And we'll see how this one works out for Infamous. As Oscar expecting action, getting ready on the Burrow Strike. It's about to kick off.
Okay, Inkswell, then done. Great Burrow Strike, and that catches 2 cores, and this to the Soul Bind. That's gonna be Mariano blown up, and this Luna, she is minced meat as well. Ryzus couldn't even have time to activate the BKB. They're going for Prada next, who's gonna try to TP. One crit, none. No crits for Lumiere, so Prada gets away by the hairs of his chinny chin chin, but Michael will not be so lucky.
No, he will not. PPA as well, managing to position himself in that fight such that he doesn't have to tank any of that damage. Thank you, Oscar, but that is going
really
to be...
late, man.
Well, you know, he forgot. He's contractually obligated to play that every single time he gets a kill, right? But a beautiful initiation by him. He knew exactly what was coming there. They kind of just trusted the system, trusted the process, and now they're going to be rewarded with a Roche. Tornado is going to... Okay, PP making a valiant last stand. In fact, the stun, they just get alone. Wow. Exo active.
Okay.
Mariano's going in, but the Age is already secured here by Lumiere. Oscar outside of the pit already as Exo attempting to TP away. Good luck, my friend. He wasn't making it out all with those ghosts focusing him.
All right. This is just the most... when these things happen, it's just the most SA thing in the world. Any other region, the hardest part and the most difficult part of a Dota game is the high ground. That's a dangerous part. And SA, it's the Roche pit. The Roche pit is just a grinder for these people. They lose 2 cores here. They barely get out with the Ages. I've never seen a single Roche attempt in this region going just cleanly, unless the game is a stomp. What a beautiful thing to have as a characteristic of your region. SA Roche, my guy.
What did they say? Is it something the great equalizer? It's definitely the Roche pit in SA. I don't know what the great equalizer is.
Death is the great equalizer, right?
I don't know.
Because everyone's, you know, the poor and the rich are both corpses when they're dead, right? But in SA, the leading team and the losing team are both just sitting ducks in the Roche pit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I believe that though. You know, like they did literally put the biggest structures on Earth by volume, probably still today. The Great Pyramids. You know, some people got those.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's true. Some people are frozen as well, like, you know.
I think you're just in denial, much like the poor people of Egypt that also didn't get buried in those pyramids.
Well, a lot of people got buried in the pyramids, more in the bricks, rather than the actual inside. But you know, I'd say they're part of it as well.
Fair enough. But even after losing,
I'm sorry.
Even after losing a couple of heroes, well, just alone really there, and XL as well, still Infamous with a big advantage. In fact, another smoke play here is kill the Gyrocopter. That's what you get for playing him as support. He's supposed to be a core.
Look at his items, dude. He has cloak. Like that's his biggest contribution. Guys, I did it. I can now survive like 10% more.
He's
damage,
dying
15%.
so frequently. He's probably using the Nether Shawl while he's alive, and then as soon as he dies, he goes, "Okay, time to put Philosopher's Stone," and he scrolls through Facebook.
Yes, I've actually seen it. He's actually done this thing constantly. I don't think he scrolls through Facebook though. I think Axel is the kind of guy that, or Prada's the kind of guy that he dies and then he starts marking plays for the team, which is why he's better off dead than alive, right?
I know. Quick note there, they did just snipe a courier. Yes, you saw that right. That was the Aeon Disc for Mariano. That is now not going to be available for 2 minutes.
Big deal. Aeon Disc is kind of necessity to deal with his PA. Usually you'd just go casual plate mill, but PA has cancelled you enough.
There's a ward here, so... Yeah, and alone just going to
BKB activated from Michael.
Yeah, I mean, as a support, that's when you take a big inhale of the copium and you go, "It's okay, guys. He BKB'd to kill me," you know. But I mean, it's just that. It's just copium. It was definitely worth it. Now there's no way they mount a defense. They've been constantly killing off one of your heroes one by one. And there just hasn't been anything you could do. There's no plays for you to make, especially when you're 4v6 here. So, still a good play by Alone.
It's also that he used Terrorize, right? So even in that, like, even he'd also wasted some of his abilities there. So I would agree. Oh my God, Lumiere just shreds. So guys, I bought Cloak Knight to buy Chainmail, and with those 2 items, I might be able to survive 2 hits from the PA.
Well, and there goes, you know, there goes the Philosopher's Stone right back in the inventory.
If he gets Nether Shaw, I actually think he gets one-shotted by a crit. If he puts another Shaw on, he just dies to the crit.
He still has a lot. I mean, 12 armor is still a lot. He's not tanky, admittedly.
No, but with Nether Shaw, he has 10, so...
I mean, not really that big of a difference. It's probably like, what, like 6%?
I actually don't know. What is... No, 12 is 43%. So the 10 would be what? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're right. I'm not sure. I'm not good at that.
Because you get diminishing returns, right? Okay, BKB active by Rises because he really wants to farm this creep wave. And then he's going to TP. Yeah. Okay.
The maybe he forgot to TP Sleight of Fist, right?
Yeah, right.
But, okay, that's fine. I mean, Risers has to do these kind of risky plays because they're losing a lot of map control now. As we said, the teamfight for Infamous is stronger. As the game goes on, their team is overall a bit stronger. And we're starting to see that now as they can take objectives. They put a lot of pressure. This all comes, though, from Oscar's plays in the early game, playing like essentially a Timbersaw and diving tier 2s for kills. And this allowed them to slowly get that space on PA. So a big deal. Infinity can still recover, however.
I also want to say, Infamous, they may have lost their coach, right? I think you probably talked about that in the pregame panel. They lost their coach of 14 months, went over to Thunder, so we'll see how he does in a little bit, right? But I'm not sure how much that may have affected them, right? But my goodness, they do have this strategy of whatever, early game doesn't matter, we'll draft for the late game, and we'll play it from there. Because that's basically how all 3 games have kind of looked to play out for them. Obviously, last game they didn't get there, but game 1, that was exactly it. And this game, as well, is looking strikingly similar in terms of the tempo and the storyline, isn't it?
Yeah, Inkswell used on Lumiere. They were expecting that he was gonna go in. You're right. Yeah. They do have all these safe traps on Infamous. You mean not Infinity, right?
Yes. Sorry, the Infant. Yes.
Infamous coach. Yes. I was gonna say because Infinity needs no coach because Papita is coach and player at the same time. That's his skill set. I'm not even joking about this. It's really true. I've seen Papita in a team, and sometimes he'll go and say, "As a coach, I'd say this. As a player, I'd say this." And you go, "What? You're the same person. What does that mean?" So Mariano does fulfill that role for Infinity a bit more. Oh, I think that's why he's working so well for them.
Affliction, by the way, has the Inkswell Shard. Just a quick note: if you see someone get dispelled suddenly,
that's huge, actually. That's huge, because that means once PA goes in with the Inkswell on, you just don't kill her. You can't, right? Unless you have overwhelming damage. Well, unless you activate it like this, right? That's not very high. We have Shard on PA next item as well, by the way, for Lumiere, now that he got Basher. Basher will stop this BKB TPing nonsense from Luna, and I think the Shard will be able to just shred through this TP. Gets rid of that Moonclaves.
We're just gonna move on through that BKB usage there by Rise. I mean, okay, sure.
You have to test it. Like, it worked once in the top lane. No, I think he actually was hoping they would go in. Oscar already fighting against the Dark Willow. Dark Willow doesn't die. They stop Oscar for a second. This teamfight is very chaotic right now. The supports are trying to fight back against Oscar, and they realize 2 supports don't deal enough damage. Instead, it is Rises who's dying. We still have BKB on Lumiere. They use a soul by Mariano, but he's not linked to anyone. Instead, Shazid will die as the BKB TP. Oh, he TP'd to the wrong objective. He realizes, yep, I can't go there. He's just to kill Invoker instead. Teamfight continues, and Infinity wants to cancel this, but Aeon just triggers. No more damage to the TP for a couple of seconds, and afterwards, there goes a burster. Oscar holding the Sandstorm, killing off the supports, and now it's DP and Luna managing to finish off the PA, but we still have Alone to deal with that Inkswell, with the BKB. They stunned Mariano. They got rid of Luna. Another Burrow Strike. Oscar will live for now. That Cursed Crown deals no damage, so Oscar will be fine. And Dark Willow giving up her life, trying to bring down Oscar with that ward reveal. But Oscar had a blink ready the whole time.
Yeah,
that's that line. Now you say it, Oscar.
The mini blink there by Oscar to flex on them. And yeah, regrettably, I think that fight looks differently if Luna has BKB there. I hate to say it, but it was coming off cooldown from the overzealous usage before the usage in the bottom lane. You know, let's call it for what it is. It was the usage in the bottom lane. And unfortunately, he didn't have BKB in that moment. A great usage of the Eclipse. You still managed to take down Lumiere. Well done. But the fight gets forced around Mariano, who is very strong, admittedly, with that Exo. Still only level 2, but Aeon Disc buying him a lot of extra time. Almost gets that kill onto Oscar, but that's really, really tough for Infinity. It was one of those fights where you needed all your resources. You needed everything to kind of come together for you in such a way for you to win the fight. And when, unfortunately, you end up removing those resources from yourselves, it makes it that much harder. And now they're staring down a 9 to 10k net worth lead. Second Roche is already respawned and ready to go. EA is going to have maybe even Basher for this next fight. It's getting really difficult here once again for Infinity. Ember has Shard. No Axe yet. How many Embers? They love going for Shard first.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Getting the Remnant back when you get a kill on support, for example, is very valuable. As they're going to go for the Roche instead, no?
A Shard?
Wonder. Yes, Shard. Who did they give the Shard to in the Roche, though? Mirana.
Sure, but Gyro
one doesn't have a Shard. Oh, they're giving it to Lumiere, actually. Because Lumiere didn't buy his. Yep. And Alone is just keeping the enemy team at bay alone, which is impressive. Allows them to take the H really freely. Alone is just chasing down Prada, realizing maybe he messed up.
Oh.
The Sunstrike won't kill him, but he still has a holy missile going after him, by the way, and that's with the Shard on. They gotta get rid of the Flame Guard.
Run!
Flame Guard. I don't know if that's gonna save him. Oh.
It did?
How did it
die to creeps!
Oh, he died while he was invulnerable. Okay. That's Michael. Yeah, they have VKB still, though, on Lumiere. He breaks the Luna. Luna can't fight. Luna's dead. DP, go for the DP next. DP now losing all her damage because of the Aeon Disc once again. Silent stop. Oscar is trying to get away. He'll manage for now as Lumiere also bursts down the gyrocopter. Saved by the Inksoul, but not quite. The Aegis will be triggered. We still have Oscar's initiation ready. Mariano goes to the high ground using the spider legs, trying to keep out of vision, but it's simply impossible for him to survive. Another kill going the way of Infinity. Infamous. Without the Luna, the Infinity just can't fight.
And that Knives Out is just an incredible ability, isn't it? It pierces BKB. Every single time I see that happen. Sorry?
Fan of Knives.
Yeah, Knives Out. I'm also a fan of Knives Out. I think that was my favorite, what was it, Edgar Wright film? You know, I agree, Alvaro. Great movie, great movie.
What? I don't know if you're saying that on purpose, but it's not.
I am saying. I know it's called Fan of Knives here, okay? It's called Comedy, sweetheart. Look it up. Anyway. Lumiere,
I just got gendered by my co-caster.
Lumiere is very strong in these team fights. If BKB's on the first life, I thought that was going to be disastrous for them, but this Luna just simply cannot fight 1v1 already. They've reached that stage of the game. Alone is able to basically 1v4 buy so much time for his team to make sure that they get their objectives. As there he goes, he gets the dieback now onto the gyrocopter. That's 10 deaths now for those keeping a score at home on the gyro. Just a very, very rough game for him.
That was... I think the Ember pickup here that we talked about, the comfort pick, right, in the draft, I think it played a big number on Infamous' squad. Alone recovered really nicely and played a much better game than the last two. I think the first game was fine, he would just kind of cancel, but last game he was a bit lackluster, and here we're seeing Alone, like, feeling in his element again, right? So I do think that them prioritizing his comfort a little bit was a good choice.
Was this not like a first phase Ember Spirit? Didn't they go?
Yes, it was the second pick, right? Yeah, it was second pick for them. Yeah, he even got countered by the Invoker. Again, that's why I think that they were really thinking of giving him the comfort pick.
Yeah. All right, Rises gonna be finding whatever farm he can on the opposite side of the map, but this is looking extremely reminiscent of Game 1 because how do you fight this PA? Michael sure can't. He is going to be taken down on the way out.
Going for the last phase of tower. And I think now... I mean, I don't know. Infinity has to propose a good fight, but I just don't know how you kill the PA. The Silver, I don't think it's going to be sufficient.
You at least got through her Aegis, so they can be thankful for that.
True. So, you still have a lot of cover, though, with the Inkswell.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, and her own BKB, especially if your gyro keeps getting fished out by arrows. They can't get megas. I mean, it's certainly not ideal, but it's not out of the realm of possibilities to say that they find a miraculous fight here and still look to stabilize the game. That's not going to be the game-turning fight. They need a little bit more than that, but it's not out of the realm of possibility for sure. But the fake back right now is going to at least draw in Rises, who uses the Silver Edge break already. That's going to trigger the jump in. The Abyssal Blade deleted. Luna is just going to buy back, though. Mariano is dropping super quickly. Aeon Disc has already procced here, so he is going to be taken down by Oscat. Still actually lifestealing a bit too much, though. Finally, he will drop, but after they get the kill onto Lumiere.
Sladin in trouble himself. There's going to be the Yule Scepter here. Activated onto Sladin. So the TP, but that's going to actually condemn them because Alone is just going ham. Down. Going for Rises next. There's no more BKB. Rice has been killed off by Alone once again. Asprada. Yeah. Oscar tips Affliction for that. He knew he just saved his life there. And then proceeded to destroy the rest of the team. Mariano does get a kill here.
Oh, hello.
Who cares?
Right
Alone's back. Get a Remnant anywhere. Yule Scepter used to stop the Searing Chains, but Alone is going for another kill onto Mariano. Wants to get the Inkswell stun. He'll find it. Here's the PA back again. Mariano will be destroyed. And Infinity, I think that's game.
That is
game. They will lose the series and game 3 against Infamous, but they put up a really good fight.
They put up a very good fight, yeah. Wow. I again was almost convinced that Infinity were going to be able to take that. I believed up until they ended up losing that Roche fight that they still had a very serious chance. But once again, just a very tough draft, right? The core-to-core in the late game, it's been the same story for all 3 games of the series, always favoring Infamous, and Infinity unable to really apply the early pressure they needed to get a good opening in this game. Just can't seem to force things that early. But I really did like this draft. I thought the support gyro was neat, and you know, if you were able to play it fast, would have had a big impact. But once again, that just doesn't seem to really pan out that way here for Infinity. They're going to lose in 3.
Yeah, I think that Infinity's... maybe we overestimated the power of this Luna, or they didn't really play around that power spike as well. It's hard to tell, but I didn't really see Rises being that impactful this game. Not a criticism towards him. It just feels like the game was played more around Mariano than anything else. And he was the real damage dealer. Once... I never saw a moment where like, Luna came online, now you're afraid of her. They always kited her, they always were able to burst her, and her itemization was more of a desperate one. Like when you go Silver Edge on Luna, obviously MKB is the better choice, but if you think I cannot deal the damage, you need the Silver Edge, someone else can. But that's not a good position to be in if you're the carry, right?
Yeah, no, agreed. Ironically, probably the best fight that Luna had was when the enemies knew she didn't have BKB, so everyone was so willing to go on her, right? That 1-1 fight after they, I think, got a 2-3 bottom or whatever, but by then the game was already just so difficult. Mariano, again, with a good game, but again, it's the DP's not going to be able to carry you through the game against a PA and an Ember Spirit, who were both pretty well farmed. Never really got to see the Invoker pop off that much either. He definitely had some good lanes to rotate to and found kills in the early game, right? But wasn't able to transition fast enough. Didn't really have the best setup for like something like a Cataclysm to make happen. So tough series for Infinity, but a very promising first series for them, even if they end up losing.
Let's see what our panel has to say about that series and what praise they can have for Infinity. Oh, I realize now my panel changed a little bit. We swapped the Brazilians out. Hello, RDO. Welcome to the panel, man. How's it going?
No worries. I got the other guy.
Yes, RDO. Did you watch the series? Please say yes.
Okay. I watched the third game. I can talk more about the third game.
Nice. Tell me about the third game. What do you... Well, actually, to begin with, because we didn't have you on panel before, did you favor the Infamous draft or the Infinity draft at the beginning of the game?
I like the Infamous draft more because they have the Mirana plus setup. It's like the easiest way to play Dota. It's like the boom way to play Dota. They used to pick the Ember and Kunkka plus Mirana. You just stun, arrow, easy kill all over the game.
Yeah. Lacoste, what do you have to say to that? Because you guys were siding a little bit more with Infinity. What do you think went wrong with Infinity's draft here?
I mean, that one fight when they were holding the enemy triangle and Sanking just got a 2-man burrow strike on 2 cores, which kind of sealed the deal. Like these Roche fights seems to be like the downfall of some of these teams, and it seems like in a lot of different regions, we can see the pattern where these like lower division teams that got into the upper division, they tend to put up a really good fight against good teams. We've seen that yesterday, Beast Coast against Balrogs. We've seen that day before that, cut against EG, where they're able to take down one game from them, but not able to like win the series, which is a bit of shame because like they still play some good Dota, but they fall down as victims to like decision making because they need a little bit, I would say, more experience playing against the better teams.
Did you agree with that, RDO? Did you see that a little bit in the game?
Yeah, I think the Division 2 teams, they're more like they're more unstable. They play really well, but they can't always play really well. Which
Yeah,
is
that's fair.
usually why they lose 2-1 and not a 2-0.
Right, because they have the one good game. Do you find that for those teams, when they play like this strong, oppressive strategy, like that's where they synergize best because they just have to go all in? Balrogs did the same thing yesterday. We saw this with Infinity today.
I mean, it depends of the team. I feel like when you're the underdog, you don't have that many pressure, so you actually play better. Like the Beast Coast series, like they knew they weren't the favorite team, so they just played their best.
All right. I think we saw that from Infinity today. We would love to get an interview with Infamous, but unfortunately we have not been answered by their management squad, so we can't really set that up for you guys, but don't worry, we will have one for the next matchup of today, which is going to be starting anytime soon. We're going to see Oscar's ult team now. It's Thunder Awaken. We're going to be playing in the next best of 3 of today. If you guys are interested, please stay tuned as we take a small break and we come back with the next game of the day. Until then.